back.
Oh, so I start to like continue the discussion, like I try to pry more, try to get a discussion going, and I just get stonewalled with the go Google it. Right, that's already a big change I noticed. That I think it's quite negative in our interpersonal interaction.
They can't hold a social conversation. It's just like, oh god.
I hate it when people Google.
Yeah. Meanwhile, it's paid AdWords, right? Paid AdWords. Paid AdWords. So
if you give it enough time, your brain, it's in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So as like another thing I noticed is back in the day, the internet was like almost like a library, and it was separate from your world, right? Basically, your interaction with the world was what's important. And when you wanted to learn something, you go to the library, right, on the internet, look it up, and then leave. But what happens is sometime around the mid 2000s and after, it just switched into a marketplace and the center of like the world. So suddenly stuff that you do on the internet has impact in real life, right? Because that's when you have all these stories about people saying really dumb things on Facebook, and then suddenly they lose their job. That's the part that's at that point when I was watching CTV News, and I was like, when I heard them writing stories about people losing jobs because of saying dumb things on the internet, that's when I noticed there's a major change in society and culture, because I just never saw that before living earlier on in the age, right? So that's another change. And so now people are more reserved, more scared of what they say.
Totally. I can't.
But anyway,
some of the shit that I've said on Facebook in the past. I mean, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, and now here's a third critique I have with before and after sort of the internet. What happens is the internet's forever, but humanity, as we grow, we need to make mistakes. We need to say dumb things to grow, to be corrected, so we can become better. But how is that going to be possible if we make mistakes earlier on and it's forever? And when you're older, you want to go do something, and people just like find this reference, and it holds you back from growing. It's very inhumane, right? And I just don't know the solution. Anyway, these are just pontifications. Like I haven't really resolved thinking about, but it's completely off topic.
yeah.
I don't.
All because of AI.
Yeah, it started with the AI topic.
Oh yeah, Chat GPT. I talk to it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking.
I got a nice Valentine's Day card ready coming from my old lady. I'll tell you that.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. Just type in be like a love poem for JT and the wife. Like it'll come up. You're like, hold on here.
I mean, I can imagine, because I've been making it write me songs and all sorts of stuff. Basically, it's kind of. I feel like something like this, it's so sort of incredible, really, where it's just such a power of intelligence, and then you just ask it to write you songs, really. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't know, it's just like the human ability to use it will always, never be quite equal to what it is. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and it's going to keep getting better and better, and like philosophers like Ray Kurzweil predict that it's going to get exponentially better, not like linearly, right, where it's like it gets twice as better as before, and then twice as better as before like the other time, and then twice as better as before the other time, which is already like quadrupled or something crazy.
Well, yeah.
So and they call it the singularity or something. But anyway, totally off topic.
No shit, we're getting deeper. It's all right.
We could talk about that another time.
We'll get into actually next week. We'll get into AI and growing in AI.
Yeah, that would be a good topic. Yeah,
we don't want to tell anybody our tricks and secrets, man.
That's another thing to consider too, guys. Maybe right, artificial.
People know about it, but I don't think there's a lot of people that don't know about it. Because I showed it to half of my friends, and none of them knew about it. So I got this guy, he does insurance named Kenneth. So when he wants to like write like a nice letter about insurance, boom.
Yeah.
Well, here's a quick tip for you guys. If you're really in a heated argument and you write an angry letter, don't send it. Put it to Chat GPT and say, Chat GPT, please write this in a more friendly and happy manner. And it'll take it and make it sound more professional, better tone, and that's de-escalate the situation.
That's a good idea.
Well, that's it.
All right.
Now it's just Chat GPT chatting to Chat GPT, or it's just no one's talking anymore.
With this is obviously AI passion background. It's what I do daily. So I mean, I could talk about it more, but let's maybe segue into that next week.
On.
All right. So let's talk about the second part. So I don't know how much time you guys have, because it's already been an hour, surprisingly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all right I'm all right for another bit. Yeah, I mean, I haven't. My contribution was really just catching up with that being in this jar now, and the next one the next one drying. Really was kind of my my update. So yeah, go for it, Bart.
Okay, and Bill, just to be respectful of your time, is that okay too?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not working right now, man. You can go for 2 hours if you like.
Okay, great. Let's get started. So, what we'll talk about is this guy right here. Now, so why would you even care? Like, we talk about cannabis, right? And we know the positive stuff it does to our lives, right? So that's kind of my perspective with wild edibles, right? Where basically, just like cannabis, it can provide these benefits to your life and social, interpersonal relationships. Other wild edibles can benefit you as well. Okay, so why should you grow cannabis? Why should you even care about this right here? Well, this, I mean, if you want to take away one thing from this, think of it like a vitamin tree. Okay, this is called Rowan. Let me bring it up close for you guys to see. Okay, so have you ever seen this in your lives, or on your way to work, or anywhere like at the park?
It sort of looks like a fern.
I was gonna say it looks familiar.
Yeah, so what happens is, what you're looking at is, this is actually called this is a leaf. This whole thing's a leaf. So each one of these little leaf nodes is called a leaflet. What's called a leaflet, right? And basically, it's this combination on this one branch. It makes it up a leaf. So right from here to here is a leaf. So that's kind of weird anatomy for the plant. So anyway, that's kind of how you could, one of the first indicators that it is Rowan. So I mean, what makes it so special? Two things. When it's a big tree, you could like take the branches, break them up, take some of the bark of the side of it, boil it, and it helps you with like constipation. So it'll help unclog, you know what I mean? Okay. So that's what. Yeah, so that's one. Now, what this plant does is it produces these bright berries, all right, and which are not good, like tasting. Okay, that in fact they're super sour. They're astringent. So if you take one of the berries, put it in your mouth, it's just gonna suck all the moisture out, and it's gonna be like your face is gonna go like with all the sourness, right? And the reason why is because it's high concentration of ascorbic acid and other things. But what makes it really beneficial is the berries have for vitamin C. All right, so that's one of the benefits of it. So if you're in a situation where you can't get vitamin C tablets or other stuff, what you can do is you can get it from this berry. Now, again, with wild edibles, you have to do your research and you have to be able to identify it. And if you have health problems, you're gonna have to check, take it up with your doctor. You gotta ask doctor. I'm not a doctor. This is just a rabbit hole for you to look down and do research. It's up to you to make the right decision, right? So, I mean, one of the things people say is, if you want to know what a Rowan is, it's best to have like an expert tell you, but you can also buy, right, seeds and grow them. And so anyway, there's that. So what's interesting about the Rowan trees, the berries, is because they're so sour, birds kind of avoid them. They kind of avoid them until wintertime, where the freezing cycles make the berries juice kind of ferment, okay, and it makes it actually taste better. So typically in wintertime, you'll start seeing the Rowan tree be attacked by birds to like eat all the berries, and then they kind of get a little drunk and they start flying around and hitting your window and acting silly and stuff like that. Right? So I mean, what could you use the berries for? What benefits would it bring you? Okay, so what you can do is you could take it and create liquors and spirits. All right. So that's already pretty a cool thing you could do, right? A Rowan type liquor. Now, for more family friendly stuff, what you could do is you can create jellies and pies. So you could take it, but you have to cook it. You can't just like you take it, put in the filling. You have to cook it. So one of the sort of negatives is if you eat too many of the berries, it has some toxic properties. So one way to get rid of the toxic properties is you got to cook it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when you cook it, then you can create jellies. You can create some sort of pies with it. And another thing you could do is you could use it as like a mouthwash. So this is kind of wild. So you can boil it when the water is basically cools down. You can put it into your mouth and just like gurgle it and then sort of spit it out, and that helps kind of like kill some of the stuff in your mouth, almost kind of like a Listerine. And no, we're not sponsored by them.
That's amazing.
Right?
What a plant. So you thinking sort of jams and jams and jellies and type things like that, like a good
jams. Yeah, that's the other one I forgot. Yep.
Well, yeah, because when they've usually got like that higher sorbic acid, they make like good jams and preserves, right?
Right. And so it's one of the problems with vitamin C is that in your body, like, there's no way for it to store kind of like fat, right? You eat some food, it gets stored in your fat. When you need it, you use it, right? So what happens is whatever you eat vitamin C, your body takes what it can get and then it kind of flushes it out. So if you're in a situation where you're vitamin C deprived, it's like, you gotta always take something that's vitamin C, right? So back in the early days, Rowan was a beneficial thing to have to fight against scurvy and stuff like that, right? That and pine needles, but that'll be a different discussion. So what you can do is eat a few of these. You can cook a few of these and to use them. You can dry them up, right, as well. And then you can store them in a jar and you could have them throughout the whole winter, fall, spring sort of season, or I guess through the whole year. So that's a good way to store it and have it available throughout the whole year. So again, this little tree, right, you can grow it and it provides you a lot of vitamin C with the berries. And so the last thing is when you drink if you drink a lot of the berries, it helps you go urinate often. What's it called? Diuretic, I think. So that's another medical or like a herbal sort of benefit there for you as well. So it helps keep the drains going.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, I love that. I just love that thing straight away. Wild edibles. I just love the idea of that, garlics and things you find in England across the road from the pub I had with my father. There was literally the hedgerow had been planted with like there was wild mint and sage, and it was just like you just walk along and be able to take handfuls of like rosemary and stuff of just these like wild herbs.
Isn't that so nice? I love it. Like it's from right now our food, right? Think how many steps it needs to go. It needs to go through like the store, distributor, right? The processor, the farmer, right? But like what you just said, you just pick it off a leaf and direct relationship. Take how much you need, benefits you immediately. That's one of the things I also love about wild edibles. And so for this this actually grows native in North America, Europe, and Asia and Africa, right? So for the iGrow community that lives there, think about looking around and seeing if you can find one of these trees. So I grew this one by downtown when I was at work. Basically, I was walking around. It was fall time and the berries were out. The color that you typically find are between orange or like scarlet, right? And I just collected some and I grew them. And if you want to grow them, you need to cold stratify them. So what you need to do is you need to put them in soil, and then you take that soil and you put it in either like a fridge or you put it outside and you wait 60 days or something. And no, it's not going to kill the seed. It's basically cold stratifying. It's part of the life cycle because Rowan doesn't grow in the desert. It grows in a temperate climate. And so it loses its leaves in wintertime and it grows them back in spring. So it's called deciduous. And the good news is it only has, it's monoecious. So that monoecious. So that means there is no male or female trees like the ginkgo. What happens is having a single Rowan tree in your backyard is good enough for it to reproduce by itself, because inside the flowers, it has both male and female genders. So I think it's called hermaphrodite. So as a result, you just having a single tree in your backyard is enough to have it self-pollinate and self-fertile.
Wow, that's really good. So yeah, that's the sort of thing. Yeah, good for the back garden then.
Yep.
And it could, yeah, survive the winter. And yeah, you can pick it and.
Yep, and here's this is how it could look like in your backyard, right? Wow. So on top of you growing cannabis and other wild edibles, it's a beautiful tree that can grow for 250 years, and it looks like that. And what's beautiful about it is because none of the birds want it in the summer and the fall, right? They want it during winter time. It's also like a beautiful tree in the winter time, and that's when, you know, it's actually better to eat. Like, you know, you just take it off the tree, the freezing cycle worked its magic, and the berries kind of taste better, right? And of course, take it with caution. But so this is kind of like a nice wild addition to your anyone that wants to grow. Now, for the people who want to grow and they have a small space, well, in this video we talked about the grow bags, right? We can use air pruning grow bags to grow this to a certain size, and then, you know, you can see if you can grow it. So it'll take for a seedling until it has berries, you're gonna have to wait around 10 years.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate, but you can think of it almost like an investment. You know, like it's just something that you want to grow on the side. It's not your main thing, but it kind of pays off in the future.
Well, no, that is just life right there. That's life right there. That is exactly the kind of long game that I like about growing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's like seeing the future. But yeah, something like that. That's great. Yeah, 10 years. Honestly, the quote is, a society becomes great when men plant trees for the shade they'll never sit in.
You got it.
And that is just it summed up there perfectly there with that Rowan, because yeah, I quite like the idea of getting so. I mean, I'm going to be keeping my eye out for those.
Yeah, there's lots downtown in London, Ontario.
I mean, as well. Wondering. I mean, I'm just not far from Springbank and the friggin' Arboretum.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
So you got it. Yeah, there's an Arboretum. You can find these guys. So I mean, one thing to look at. Now, this picture is not great, but basically they have a 5-pointed star right here. And you can kind of find them in clusters like this. And again, you can look out for these leaves. Maybe let's see. We can just Google. Now, another name is called mountain ash, right? And the reason why is because these trees grow quite well in high altitude, mountainous, rocky like areas. So they're quite tough. That's kind of why they have another name for that. So I mean, depending on the side of the world you live in, if you're seeing red berries, people call it Rowan. If people see orange berries, people tend to call it mountain ash. So that's kind of what it's like. So yeah, really cool. And I personally, what I fell in love with it is when I was just walking downtown. I saw all these berries, and I was like wondering why no one's eating it. You know, I did like a picture snap. I started to look at what it was. I took a bunch of berries. I put them in the ground. I had them wait over winter, and then I grew them. And you're pretty much looking at a 1-year-old seedling right here. This beautiful.
That's really cool.
And it just feels great, you know. So I think growing cannabis, right? Awesome. Why don't you add also some wild edibles like Rowan and ginkgo? So that's kind of my spiel here.
No, that's great. I think that is. And I mean, is it the kind of thing just with a Rowan or Rowan? Does it like that tent then? Would it kind of happily sit in the corner of the tent and?
Yep, you got it. So basically the same way you grow cannabis, you can grow Rowan just like it, right? So
that's the thing, and keep your eyes peeled. I think that's like a challenge now. Anyone that's like watching this or listening to this, I think is definitely going to be keeping their eyes peeled. Well, keeping their eyes peeled for one, high intensity discharges, or when they see them on lights. I'm never going to forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Rohan trees are, you know, it may be in their own neighborhood. Do you know what I mean? They're like, yeah, I've got one of those berry trees. Like, yeah, do you know what I mean? A Rohan. And then, yeah, having those, I'm again spotting it from the leaflets, the very, very, like, I don't know if there's, I guess, is that a cannabis plant? All of those leaves, are they technically part of a one leaf? I've never really thought about it like that.
So one thing to think about is different plants come from different families. So certain families, you'll see different leaf structures.
Yeah.
So if I'm not mistaken, Rowan comes from the rose family. So somewhere in its genetic past, it came evolved from a rose. So I mean, why that's important is it when you put it in your backyard, uh, insects that evolve to attack and eat from like rose type plants would be susceptible to like Rowan would be susceptible to.
Right.
So that's kind of, so I mean, if you don't understand the science, that's the one sort of interesting variable that you could kind of think about, you know, like where do black walnuts or, you know, where do pineapples come from, right? What family does it come? So then you could anticipate kind of the bugs you'd get. Just an off topic subject.
No, that's right. But any kind of being aware of those sort of things with, yeah, because I had a bit of a fly thing when I brought those the pineapples and those avocados from out in the garden. The pineapple, unfortunately, Tropical Dave, he picked up some sort of like fly sort of infestation. And I kind of brought it into this room, which I finally got rid of, kind of all no signs of any more flies. But yeah, that was kind of a problem. Do you know what I mean? And I'd hate, like, you know, if I had a baby Rowan going, do you know what I mean? You know, it's quite now hermetically sealed. There's no wildlife in this room at all.
Yeah. I want to make a JT. You made a great point about the long game. I think that might be something that might be valuable for cannabis growers because cannabis is short term, right? It's got a short life cycle within a year, right? These sort of wild edibles take decades, right? So maybe what some people can do is if you have enough space inside your grow tent or in your growing area, maybe you can grow one plant for the long term, something that is always there with you, accompanying all the seasons of cannabis that you grow, and then you could take its medicinal benefits, right?
Yeah,
like for example, we talked about ginkgo. That one already has within the first year because just like Rowan, it lives in a temperate climate, so it loses its leaves during winter and it gains them back in spring, right? It's the technical term is called deciduous. So as a result, during the leaf dropping phase, you as a cannabis grower could actually start cutting all the leaves for yourself. It's going to be fine. Put the plant outside into a winter and to what's it called, part of its life cycle, and now you got yourself a bunch of leaves that you could use for your circulatory system that, you know, that the ginkgo provides, like we talked about last time.
Yeah, that's right. Simple as boiling a leaf, right? Putting a leaf in water. What a simpler chemical process than that.
Yeah, you know, just like your, you know, like your investments. You know, you don't want to put everything in one spot. You know, you can have a few wild edibles to accompany your growth. That's the last point I would make.
Yeah, no, awesome stuff. I love that. The Rowan, the vitamin tree. Just another one of those fantastic wild edibles. Yeah, and that you might even be able to find. I'm sorry, my light's gone off. You might be able to find, like I said, on your street corner, and I'm going to be looking around the parks when the snow melts and I get back out in there. You know what I mean? I'm going to be keeping an eye out for all these fantastic plants. That's so great.
Now the one benefit of Rowan is that it's like, you know, birds kind of avoid it until like winter season, so you could get it up until like early winter.
And then you are competing with the birds, I guess.
Birds that love their liquor berries.
Yeah, I love that idea. And yeah, if what simply put in a pot, macerate with sugar, and what you would get yourself some sort of Viking Rowan brew.
Yeah. That's interesting, Rowan, because it's native to Europe, North America, Africa, Asia. Different cultures have different sort of stories with it. So in Europe, what happens is, I think it's like in Norse mythology, like it was the Rowan tree that saved what's it called, the god Thor from drowning.
Oh, excellent!
Right, so
it's got links to Thor. That's fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, there's not a lot of trees out there that can say they've saved Thor's ass
God.
from the deep shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love
So
this. I love this tree already, honestly.
yeah, I mean, I haven't read too much into it, but there certainly has some, European folklore with dealing with, like, I think warding off witches and stuff like that. Like what farmers used to do, superstitious farmers, is they would always plant at the corner, at the top, like some sort of corner of their farm. They would plant a Rowan tree just to ward off, bad spirits, witches, and stuff like that.
I love that. Do you know what? I love that. I love that. Keeping away. Yeah, honestly, there's something. There's a little bit of something in everything. And honestly, if people were planting trees for that purpose, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it did keep them safe from witches. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
It's cool because it was part of our history, all the people, right? And what happens is, it had positive effects. It had medicinal herbal effects. And with the modern life, we kind of moved away from it, but you can kind of discover it, right? With and that's kind of what's cool about the iGrow and, like, sort of the community that values cannabis. They see the benefits it provides them and their friends and family, right? So why not follow that route and see what other plants can bring benefits to you and your family, right? And so hopefully by the end of this, you guys could take away, vitamin tree. You can get the little berries, and now you got a source of vitamin C. And of course, got to do your own research. I'm not a doctor, all right? I can't make any claims, but this is something you can follow, rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah, totally. The Rowan tree, fantastic stuff.
Another name, mountain ash for the.
Oh, that was amazing, by the way. That was amazing. I've got another page of good shit there, but that's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
No, really,
honestly,
really
I love
good,
it.
Really amazing stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, for the people watching, it's January. It's middle winter. There's snow everywhere. It's depressing. This just lights up my day. Just before I work, I just go take a look at this lovely tree. See the little nice leaves. Honestly, it makes my day. So if for anyone growing, in the dead of winter, think about growing one of these lovely trees.
Yeah, man, that's such a good show. That's more top tips.
Bart, I noticed your basement doesn't have any drywall now. Is that a reason for that? Because you're growing so much plants down there?
Oh no, it's just not finished. We haven't had time to renovate.
I just figured because of the moisture and the humidity. I wasn't sure if it would create mold or something. So I was just a question.
No, good. That's a good question, and I like that you brought it because you mentioned in the previous video that plants have a sort of requirement of humidity for them to grow optimally. So in this basement, what happens is the humidity is just horrible. Like it's like in the winter, it's like in the 30s range, but in the summertime, it's like really high, like in the 90s. So we have to have a dehumidifier running. Yep. So I've been thinking ever since you mentioned that last video, like maybe these things could be growing better if I somehow try to introduce more humidity in this dry area.
Yeah, get yourself one of those little guys.
Yeah, humidifier. Maybe sprinkle like water, like in one of those, what are they called, spray bottles. Just sprinkle some water a little bit, get some.
Or even a water in a cup. You could keep it in, you could keep, like what I did is when my humidity drops, I just put a little cup of water in there, and it'll evaporate and create humidity, right?
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. I love that. Nice and simple, and it does a function.
Amazing. Well, I'll tell you what, we're doing great. Well, I don't know. I might just quickly, I'll just quickly talk about what happened. So, as far as my little adventure with growing, for my little bit today, I wanted to look back at this, our little avocado. So last week I don't know, I think it was like sort of about there. We've had a great little sprout. It does love the tent, and my kids absolutely loved it. Very fun. Really, once I found out you can do avocados, I've been doing them for years. So I've sort of always got one on the go. Nice plant. But the sort of exciting stuff, we had a bit of this, but a final harvest after drying and curing, and a freaking unbelievable aroma in here. I've never grown the AK-47, but very sticky, and I stripped off the whole. I'm sort of keeping, I don't know whether it's weird, I'm keeping the corpses of all the plants. Yeah, I'm like friggin' Hannibal Lecter or something. But honestly, I've got. Do you remember the one I did the tying knots with?
Jesus.
The twisty. That's like when because it died. We lost it all to mold, but I kept the knotted bottom, and now it's dried out. And yeah, I'm just gonna like wear it around my neck like some weird shaman. Do you know what I mean? And then there was that Snipsimus one that the first one I really only got the cannabis in with, and then now this guy, roots and all. I don't know, the thick ones. Someone told me you can often turn them into pipes and things like that. Do you know what I mean? So that might be a fun thing to do if I get a slightly thicker one. So I stripped that down, and then really wanted to just go over to his brother for our little checkup with you guys. This one now pulled out the ground and hanging for his little drying cycle. And probably, like I was saying, I think I just sort of was doing it when we were chatting before. But so Nico can get this edit in. But this one, so 20, what was it? So 8 weeks for his brother to create that fairly small amount. And then another month of growth on top, but just a bigger, badder plant. So I don't know if I'm going to get a seed on here, but if I find a seed, it's a good pheno, that one. So an AK-47, and again, just perpetual growth, keeping a plant drying, a plant now to consume for relaxation purposes in an evening. But really I wish you could have smell-o-vision, guys. I'm quite pleased. It really does smell like the sort of good shit that I sell at Tokyo Smoke Byron. Anyway, do you know what I mean? That's great stuff. Well, look, I think today that was just like a fantastic one with Bill with the lights. And
JT, you said the one that you intertwined got infested with mold.
Yeah.
So if you stress a plant, which that looks like that plant got stressed by intertwining all that, like it creates a deficiency on, like it won't produce nutrients. Like if you feed it full of nutrients, it won't suck up the nutrients as good. So once you stress a plant like that, it creates more of an effect that it can have more problems.
Oh, really?
So its immune system would deficiate, like it would go down, like because it's struggling. So everything's got to go through those little branches, right?
Yeah.
Like the nutrients. So when you think about it, the bigger your plant is, obviously, usually sometimes the smaller the buds are going to be, because the root system's got to take all those nutrients and throw it out. Like if you got an outdoor plant, it's got to throw those nutrients up like 8 feet. And if you don't have proper deficiency, like proper nutrients, proper sunlight, and then stressing your plant, it basically becomes a shit show.
Well, I don't know. It was all right, really. It was just looking so good up until like that final week. I took my eyes off him, and then all three of them basically all right, just right there. Don't know whether one gave it to the other or whatever, but
that's exactly what
it all just went boom straight away.
You only stressed that one out, right?
I mean, they all had a little top knot thing happen. Like rather than doing the top thing you did, I just tied the two branches, so there was two. Okay. But it basically stopped the plant growing any higher there. Then it was just the 8 branches, basically.
All right.
I did that with kind of all of them. There's a bit of a JT technique, the tied top.
I just think it would be hard, like, because it was growing in an atmosphere where you control the light. It's clean in the tent. For bugs to get at it, for it to get infected, I would just find it's more harder for a plant to get infected in a control environment than it is to be outside. So that's why I think maybe it was because of the stress with the intertwining of the leaves.
Possibly.
Because I'm pretty sure like there's no pests in there.
Yeah.
As far, right? So I don't know, just something to think of.
Yeah, I will. I don't like the idea that I caused it, Bill, with my artisanal.
I'm just throwing it.
Too much love. It's overbearing.
Yeah, it's breaking my heart. It's like, you did it, you bastard. Stop playing with it. You go blind. Yeah, that's great. Well, look, friggin' hell. We've got a mate. That's quite a bit for Neo to work with this week. I mean, I don't know. I felt we've had a great one this week. I love the Rowan tree. I love the light stuff. So I might just do that thing we did at the end yesterday and do the intro and then the like outro bit. So yeah, just like okay, how do we start again? How do we start? Okay, good days. J to the T from iGrow. For that iGrow discussion podcast, joined as always with my sage partners in discussion, the fantastic Bart Mika and the wonderful Bill Flick over there. How you doing today, gentlemen?
Good. Hello.
Welcome. So yeah, we're going to get into this discussion. I don't know. I guess is that yeah? He'll do it from there. Was that enough? The end bit. That's when I say like and follow and subscribe. Right. That's when we do that bit.
Oh yeah, call to action. It's like so.
Call to
like what kind of lights are you guys using? Yeah. Did we miss anything about the lights?
Yeah.
Has anybody grown trees? Anyone made any great recipes? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Am I light enough? I'm light enough. Okay, gentlemen, well, look, thanks a lot for another wonderful discussion. Yeah, anybody wants to chime in, certainly be able to message us watching this podcast about some of the fantastic things Bill was talking about with those lights, really, what's working for you and in your environments. And Bart with the fantastic Rowan tree, already in love with that tree and be keeping my eye out for that. And yeah, the vitamin tree, fantastic information today. And yeah, if you're growing any funky trees in your basements as well, yeah, do drop us a line, do let us know. Log on to the iGrow.world website and join that iGrow discussion group on Facebook and Instagram as well. But yeah, it's throwing a lot of wonderful things. Yeah. The plant that saved Thor, I think, is going to stick with me on that one. Yeah. And those berries packed with vitamin C that basically get birds drunk as well. So yeah, nature, I'm getting a lot of fun out of that tree as well. So yeah, don't forget to like this, follow, subscribe, and get involved with the iGrow community. Thanks once again to Bill and Bart today for that discussion. Thanks very much, gents.
Have a good one.
All right.
Oh, bye.
Excellent. That was the kind of one when you say goodbye, but we don't.
Sorry.
That's all right.
After the pause, and then we're just, oh, you want. We'll get it figured out. It's only our second one. We'll get it.
I'll do another. Maybe I'll just do another line.
That was a good one. That was good though.
Yeah. So so yeah, thank you again. So my guest cohorts in iGrow, the wonderful Bill Flick and the fantastic Bart Mika. Once again, and we'll see you next time, guys, on the iGrow podcast, where yeah, let's get into iGrowing, what it means to us and what everyone's doing out there, and all those fantastic things we've got growing in our basements and in our gardens. Yeah, so thanks once again, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I grow, it's off to work we go. I grow. I sing that song a lot in my house, guys. Don't you worry. I'm trying to get my kids on that one as well. But I grow. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna save these two pieces then for Nico. Hopefully that'll just go in my